Thank you folks for coming out, some of you for wading out, swimming out. Nonetheless, thank you for being here. My name is Clay Nicholas. I'm the president of the Republican Club of Van Zandt County. So we thank you for attending tonight. Just got a few thank yous and acknowledgments before we get started. Your host this evening is the Republican Club of Van Zandt County. Our sponsors are both the Van Zandt newspapers, represented by Mr. Brad Blakemore, and KWJB Radio, represented by Mr. John Butler. They will be broadcasting live tonight and recording for future playback. Momentarily, I'll turn the mic over to our Moderator-in-Chief, Mr. Bob Reese, where he will introduce his fellow moderators and give you the rules of the road tonight for both the candidates and the crowd. I'd like to thank the folks that have helped put this together, the moderators in developing the questions that were sent in by many of you. I'd like to thank Mr. Andy Reese, who has kind of coordinated most everything tonight and is also videoing in the back there, which he will be posting to YouTube later on, so folks can go back and watch this as well. At this time, I would ask our own County Court at Law Judge, Joshua Winters, to come to our invocation and our pledge. So if you would rise for the pledge, say for the invocation, and remain standing for the pledge. Good one.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, if you'll join me in prayer. Our Father God, Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to live in this greatest nation on the face of the earth, Lord. We thank you for the ability to come together in the way that we are tonight, to assemble in this way, to be able to have the free exchange of ideas, to be able to enjoy the freedoms that exist here, Lord. We thank you for those things. And in that fashion, Lord, that we would ask you to open the hearts and minds of those here tonight in this room full of servants, so that wisdom would prevail, so that these proceedings can be conducted with peace and harmony, overcoming all as we work together for the best interests of our county, of our state, and of our nation. Lord, we thank you for all the ways in which we're blessed. We lift all of this up to you. For it's in your Son's name we pray. Amen. Amen. If you'll join me in the pledge to our national flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And to our state flag. Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Judge Winters. Coach, you may be seated. All right, as I hand the mic off to Mr. Bob Reese, I would just like to encourage each and every one of you that if you enjoy this evening and would like to get more involved in our local political process, we have a table at the back for membership. Also, this event is something we like to do every election cycle, but it is not cheap. So there are also some donation jars in the back, so if you find it in your heart to donate, that would help us offset some of our expenses and also be able to continue to do this in the future. So with that, I'll hand the mic over to Mr. Bob Reese to introduce his moderators and give you the rules for the road. And candidates, if you will meet me over here to the right, we'll get you lined out.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me in the back there all right? Good, very good. Thank you, Clay. Appreciate you putting this on and the club doing this, because it's informative for all of us to get to know these candidates and to make wise decisions. Joining me on the panel this evening is retired Senior District Judge Teresa Drum. You can applaud for her, it's okay. And Canton High School Senior Clayton Stern. They worked diligently in sifting through questions that came in and did a lot of research so that we could put together a series of questions that would help you make informed decisions. If while I'm doing the introduction here, we could get our U.S. congressional candidates up to the table over here, and then to be followed by the Texas House District 5 candidates after the congressionals. The purpose of the debate in the Republican primary is to create a format that allows the citizens to learn more about the candidates and who is best qualified for the office sought and matches the ideals and the tenets of the Texas Republican Party platform. The tenor and demeanor of the debate for tonight, it is expected that each candidate will remain within the time limits set for the debate, maintain professionalism and civility throughout, refrain from name-calling, innuendos, and speculations, and will base answers on documentable facts and figures that can be verified post-debate if requested. And I want at this point also to introduce our timekeeper, Ms. Cheryl Lenz. Cheryl. She will be giving them graphic signs of their timing. During the questioning sequence, it is expected that the audience will refrain from cheering, booing, clapping, or otherwise distracting from the time and the process of keeping on schedule and obtaining as much information about each candidate as possible. After each opening and closing statement, the audience may applaud candidates. Okay? After opening and closing statements, but please refrain from other comments and clapping and all during the questioning process. The sequence for tonight within each race, such as House District number 2, was done by a random drawing to select the order in which the candidates will speak. They will then that will be their opening statement, and then they will do their closing statement in reverse order from that. And we will be alternating our questions with them through the process as we ask the questions. We'll start with whoever had slot number 1 will ask the question first, and then when we're finished with that question, we'll ask whoever had slot 2 the next question, and so on, unless a question is going to a very specific candidate. And we do have some questions like that. Most of the questions go to all the candidates. Same question goes to all the candidates. The format is that each candidate has 2 minutes to make an opening statement. Surrogates for a candidate may only do an opening statement, and then they'll be seated with the audience. They will not be answering questions. Unopposed state-level candidates will have 2 minutes for a combined opening and closing statement with no questions asked by the panel. And that's not just state level, all levels of candidates. If they're unopposed in this primary, they will make their 2-minute statement, and then they'll be seated off the stage. Questions, there'll be 4 to 8 questions in each race. They'll be directed to the candidates from the panelists with the format of general questions rotating between the candidates, as I just mentioned. The source of the question has been from citizen input and researched. Each candidate will have 1 minute to answer the question, and then if any of the other candidates in that race, an opponent, wants to rebut, they raise their hand, we will recognize them, they'll have 30 seconds to rebut. And we will allow as many of those back and forth as our clock permits to get everyone out of here at a reasonable time. And we've decided what that reasonable time is. And we're not going to share that with you. The closing statements will then be 1 minute each, and they, as I said, will be in reverse order from the opening statements. So I hope you candidates all heard that. I think you've already gotten copies of it. If you have a question, you certainly can ask us when you're up here. The podiums are numbered based on the slot position that they're going to be speaking in each race, except when we get to the constable's race. In the constable's races, we have 4 precincts up for election this period. 3 of those precincts have 2 candidates in each one. So we're going to renumber the podiums. We'll have 2 number 1s, 2 number 2s, and 2 number 3s. So you'll have the precinct 1 candidates right up here, precinct 2 in the middle, precinct 3 at the end. Precinct 4, if he shows up. Pat Jordan, are you here? If he does show up, he will have 2 minutes to speak if he would like to. Otherwise, we'll go right down the line. If it's a question to all the candidates, they'll all answer it, and then their opponent, if they want to rebut what their opponent said, they'll signify and we'll let them do that. That'll conserve some time for us this evening. You'll just have to remember which precinct you're in, 1, 2, or 3, and those will be your pair of candidates that you're trying to decide between. Does everybody understand that? Everybody got it?